Hey, what's up, online community? And thanks for stopping by and checking out another segment of Straight No Chaser, where I get to talk sports and culture for fans, oftentimes with the fans. Now, I know that we've been inundated over the past couple weeks with a lot of guests from the sports world. So today I want to scale it back. And let's get back to the culture. Let's talk about some things that make us laugh. And what better way to do that than to talk to three hilarious comedians that are going to be talking about their experience in the comedy and entertainment world, how they got into the comedy profession, where they're at, and kind of how they see themselves and where they see their careers going. So before we get into it, if you got your favorite libation, you know how we do it, raise your glasses. We're about to get into it, Straight No Chaser. So my first guest joining me tonight is Rodney Lumpkins. He's a Chicago local comedian. He hosts a comedy show in Northwest Indiana. He's building up his acting portfolio and his profile. Rodney, thanks for joining the show. Thanks for coming on. We've also got—
no problem, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Man, thanks for popping on. Also, we got Marvin Phipps. Marvin Phipps, he's another local comedian. He's studied at Second City. He hosts Jokes and Notes. He's building his acting portfolio. He's worked with some of the hottest comedians to come out of Chicago. Marvin Phipps, thanks for popping on the show. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight.
And thanks for having me, bro.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.
Last but not least, we've got Dwayne Kennedy. He's an Emmy Award-winning writer. His acting and writing credits have spanned 3 decades. His stand-up comedy routines are all over the internet. He's someone that is not unfamiliar to the public eye. Dwayne Kennedy, thanks for popping on Straight No Chaser tonight. Thanks for joining the show, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you.
Cool. Well, you know what? I know one of the things that most of our fans want to know, people that are tuning in and watching, how did you get started into stand-up comedy and just the comedy scene? I'm going to ask Marvin first, then I'm going to go to Rodney, and then come back to Dwayne. So Marvin, how did you get into stand-up comedy?
Well, for me, man, it started, just always being that typical funny guy at school, and comedy, just being a fan of comedy, but I never thought about being a comedian. But what did it for me was way back in MySpace days, I saw an ad by Lil Rel saying open mic. So at Jokes and Notes, and my mind was blown. I'm like, I never been to a comedy club. I went on a Wednesday night and I saw all these guys talking about stuff I've been saying forever on stage. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna try this out. I didn't know nobody there. I didn't know anything about, performing stand-up comedy. I went on stage about 6 or 7 weeks later. That's how long it took me to get up. And I got bit by that bug, man, and just been performing ever since. And it was over. It was a wrap.
So the first time that it took you about 7 weeks. So obviously there were some butterflies the first time you stepped on the stage. Talk about that experience. What was that like?
You know what? It was actually, yeah, I was nervous, but it was something I felt like I've been doing my whole life. Of course I didn't have my timing or, my delivery and stuff like that, but I've always been making people laugh. So, and I went on stage for, I think it was 5 minutes, and just making them laugh with stuff that I would always talk about, and once I got going, it's just like I do today. Once you get that first one off and they laugh, you just go from there, man. It just was a wrap.
And this started in what, 2007, correct?
2007, yeah.
2007, man. 12 years in the game.
Yep.
Ooh.
Went back fast.
Thanks for sharing. Big Rod. Now, let me say this to our guests and then also to our viewers that are watching. I went to college with Rodney. So I knew Rodney the ball player.
Right.
I knew Rodney the ball player. We used to think he was like Larry Johnson in that post, turning and dunking on people.
Shaq, baby.
Then next thing I know he's on stage, funny too. I'm like, oh man, my boy Rodney killing it. So Rodney, talk a little bit about how you got into comedy and what was your motivation and what inspired you.
All right. In college, I thought about it, but I was never like the real outgoing type to do that. I remember coming home from college one day, and I was listening to a comedy tape. It was Robin Harris, and I was like, damn, the way he got the crowd, you know what I'm saying, just engaged. And I was like, man, that's a extremely high level, but I would like to, you know what I'm saying, entertain the crowd like that. So I eventually, when I graduated from Illinois State, I went down to All Jokes Aside, and I checked out comics, you know, on the Wednesday night was the open mic night. And I checked out comics for about maybe 2-3 weeks. Then I was getting ready to go on stage that following week. And I waited after the show, and then one of the guys that we went to Illinois State with, Craig Robinson, was at the show that night. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. Man, I'm about to go on stage for the first time next week. And he was like, what? He's like, you don't want to go on stage here at Jokes and Notes for the first time. He's like, I got a spot up on the north side where you could go for the first time. And, I was like, all right, fine, cool. So, and he was right. So that next, I think like Monday, they had a spot called, I remember called like the Monkey Bar or some shit on the north side.
Monkey Bar.
That we went to. And it was about, about 50, 60 comics there, and there's a long list. And I got a chance to go up for the first time, man. I don't remember what I said, man. It was all crazy, but it just felt good being on stage, man. So that's basically how I kicked it off.
So the first time you hit the stage, what was that experience like? And how long did it take you to work up the nerve to go on stage?
Well, it took about, I think, 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
Like I said, I wanted to watch, I wanted to study, and then I had planned to go up. Actually, I don't think it's a month, but I think it was Morrissey. I think it's a spot called Morrissey. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Dwayne, that they had on the north side that we went up to. And it was just a chill spot, man. Most of the crowd was comics, so wasn't nobody really paying attention anyway. So it gave me a chance just to get that vibe, you know what I'm saying, that feeling of being on stage in front of people doing something new for the first time.
Okay. So, I didn't ask Marvin this. So the first time you went up there, how do you think you did?
Looking now, probably not so, not so great if I had to judge now, but back then I always felt that I did good, you know. Actually, my first time is on YouTube. My first my first 8 sets from Jokes and Notes is on YouTube. So and they're laughing, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so it's cool.
Rodney, what about you? How do you think you did the first time on stage?
Man, I remember I had one joke that I've been studying, and it was a doodle joke, man. And I don't even remember, man. All I know is I survived that first time. I don't think nobody was paying attention. I survived, and I got a chance to go up and do it again, and I never did that doodle joke again, though. So maybe that is how.
Wait, sound like I heard that doodle joke before. Did you end it with, and then he kicked them in the ding ding? Any more for Ross? Is that how it ended? And then he kicked them in the ding ding. Oh man. Well, obviously both of you all did well enough. You felt like you did well enough because you continued on the path, man. You didn't get discouraged. So Dwayne, you've been involved in comedy and entertainment for quite some time now. You had a long
30s. Yeah.
So what was that? Thinking back on it, what was that first experience like? You know, kind of what drew you to entertainment, and how was it different now than when you started?
Well, I can start with how it was different. Just listen to Marvin's story. Nothing I ever did was recorded when I first started.
Okay.
Nothing. Thank God. But otherwise it's different, obviously different eras, but it's still the same process. Just, when I was a kid, loved comedy. I love cats, coming up, it was Cosby and Pryor and all those people. But I loved comedy, man. Just watching it on TV and just seeing that, and it intrigued me, man, how somebody could just present an idea, something in their head, and speak it and get a reaction from people. Like, man, how, you know, that seemed like magic to me, you know. And it is something that the thing I love about comedy, just like seeing all you cats on the show, was just that everybody has their own point of view, you know. It's like I always equate it to like different philosophers, you know what I mean? You read a bunch of different type of philosophies, and they're all disparate ideas, but they all make sense in their own way. They all have their own logic, you know. So I love that. So I was funny when I was a kid. Around certain people, and I was very shy. So certain people I was comfortable around them. I could be funny, and I remember as a kid wanting to do comedy. Like, man, that's something I want to do. But then, you know, you get older, kind of put that aside. And then one day, and this was Marvin, you probably don't remember this. This is back when they had newspapers, and you know, that's probably before Marvin's time. The newspapers. And there was an ad in I don't know, Sun-Times or something about Zanies having open mic, you know. And so I said, okay, well, let me, you know, again. And I can't remember how long it was before I went down from the time I saw the ad, but, you know, I sat down, you know, wrote material out and wrote it out and went on. I went down there with a friend of mine. I think I might have backed out the first time. I think I did this twice, so there's two different times. Anyway, so I wound up going up again, like I said, new open mic, 5 minutes, whatever, and it went well. I mean, it went well. I thought it went well, and for me, I think it would have had to have gone well the first time, or I probably would have never done it again. You know, yeah. But like now, the following, I think, 2 times after that, it didn't go so good, you know, because I thought that every time you went on, you had to have a new 5-minute set every time. So, yeah. But, you know, and that, you know, that was the thing. It was a crowd, and I went up to it was a Tuesday night at Zanies. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. So good feedback, and, you know, yeah. Enough to get me interested in wanting to do it again. Even when I bombed, although it took me about another year to go back up after that. But
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I took bombing hard, man. I didn't have. I was. my psyche is fragile, man. Yeah.